And welcome inside the 2015 Volkswagen Golf Sportwagon TDI. This is the SE trim level, and I'm sitting shotgun with Don Adair. He's a writer with a Spokesman Review in Spokane, Washington. So when I get cars, he gets cars, or if he gets cars, I get his car. And we're lucky enough to be here in downtown Portland, Oregon for our third annual Drive Revolution event. And we got 16 cars to drive today. And what do you think about a Volkswagen, especially this one?
I've always liked this car. I think Volkswagen does diesels as well as anybody. And I like it's got a stick shift, so we can take advantage of all that nice low-end torque.
We got a 2-liter TDI clean diesel 4-cylinder engine. What else here? 17-inch alloy wheels, all-season tires, 31 city, 43 highway for a combined 35 estimated MPG average. And the price on this, right around $28,000. Does it seem like a reasonable price?
Seems really reasonable to me. It's got that traditional German feel, you know, behind the wheel. It just feels solid and well planted, and yeah, and the finishes are nice. Everything about this says quality.
Yeah, it seems like the more and more I drive Volkswagens, they add a little more luxury touches within.
Yeah.
Not so much hard plastics, but, you know, some shininess here,
Yep.
Clear dials.
They had to catch up. They've had some catching up to do. They still do. I mean, this is kind of a tiny central display.
Mm-hmm.
But they've really caught up a lot in the last few years. It's really what American consumers demand that Europeans don't necessarily demand, and so they've had to adjust their expectations or production.
You know, more we have these push button starts and it's all key fobs, and someone made a comment like, whatever happened to keys anymore? We don't see keys. It's all push button this and key fob in your pocket. Do you miss keys?
No, not at all. In fact, I drove a Jeep Patriot down and it had a key, and it's always so odd to have to, I got to get a key out of my pocket.
Yeah.
You got to push this button to unlock the deck lid.
I'm so used to, you know, once I get in a car, my finger is pointed. I'm ready to push the button somewhere. If I have a key, it's like, I forgot. I need a key.
Yeah, no, that's right. I think that people who haven't shopped for new cars in the last few years are going to be shocked at how much of that kind of stuff is prevalent these days.
Yeah.
Of course, I suppose there's always that big unanswered question of what's going to cost. What happens when that device stops communicating and you have to replace it? I think that the cost of replacing some of these things could get pretty nasty.
Well, there was one time I think it was an Infiniti a couple years ago, and I had to replace the key, and it was $250.
Yeah.
Key fob.
yeah. You don't just go have a new key made down at the shop, that's for sure.
So as we get ready to get onto the highway here, what are you hoping to experience and feel? So there you go, that one right there.
Well, I've driven this engine before, so I pretty much know to expect a lot of torque, right?
Yeah.
Off the bat. And these diesel engines don't rev as high.
Keep to the middle lanes after merging.
Okay.
Follow signs to I-84.
Okay. So I got all of that. I mean, it's instant throttle response, and I've got torque all the way through from, I don't know, I'm in third gear, and at 40 miles an hour, a little bit of throttle gets me a lot of, like this guy wants me to move in, just instant power.
And when you say the torque is all the way through, you feel it throughout the entire range, right?
Correct. It's got a very broad torque band. And it's not like a turbocharged motor. Well, it is turboed actually, but it's got the diesel engines produce torque at low RPM, and so it kind of compensates for the torque lag that you can get with a turbo lag that you often experience with small turbocharged engines. This, to me, a turbo diesel is just a lovely combination of high-end torque, high and low-end torque, and terrific fuel economy. And it's especially nice with diesel prices down.
Yes.
Right now,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like stick shifts, but if you do, this is a good one. Nice clutch take up. don't realize, of course, if they haven't driven a diesel lately, is that it's not noisy and clattery, not smelly.
You don't get that rumble that some people think of when you hear diesel, that like a semi truck. That's what I kind of imagine, or a big work truck. You hear that,
right?
That diesel just kind of clicking away. You don't hear that.
No, you can feel a little bit of the engine roughness in the steering wheel, but it's very, very minor. It's part of the diesel package.
Well, who would you say this type of vehicle compares with in the diesel category? Who's Volkswagen competing with?
You know, it's tough to say with this particular car being a small wagon. Jeep has got some small diesels.
Yeah.
Trying to think who else I would compare this to. Basically, as an auto rider, most of what I see as diesels are either trucks or Volkswagens.
Yeah.
And of course, Audi and Volkswagen have both cast their lot behind diesel to a large extent.
So they have the market on it.
They do, and they've done a very good job. They actually, Audi really pioneered for consumer products the technology that was required to bring some of the diesel technology to the gasoline and diesel engines meant for consumer cars, the kind of injection technology that had to happen. And they've really done a nice job.
Now, do you pop the hood when you have your cars for your week and look at them at all? No.
They're all plastic shrouding.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm not a technical guy. There are a lot of writers who know an awful lot more about cars. There are a lot of civilians who know a lot more about cars than I do. I try to do this from the point of view of just an average person.
Okay.
Which I am. I'm a writer first and a car guy second. So I don't spend a lot of time, I might look at the rear axle, the rear suspension, but chances are I'm not going to be able to tell a whole lot looking at underneath the hood or anywhere else.
I feel a similar way of being, and that's why I am the Everyman driver. That's my platforms, because I want to look at it like everybody else.
Right.
I'm not a guy who grew up in the garage turning a wrench or working with my dad under the hood. I'm looking at this as a consumer's point of view, hopefully, as a journalist first, car guy second, from my TV news background.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I think that a lot of the guys that we, and women who we work with, our peers, are more enthusiast-oriented.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that. I like to go fast in a car, and I love sports cars better than anything else. But the average driver doesn't care about that stuff.
And that's the hard thing to do, isn't it? Is simplify it down to what they need to hear, or what they want to hear, and for you to find that information, and not talk over their head.
Yeah, my job, I think, is to try to give people. I only write about 540 words about a car, which means I can't get into a lot of detail, and that means I have to be a little more creative, I think, in terms of trying to frame this car.